info.
Hi, thanks so much for tuning in. This is BQ Prime, and we're here to talk about the latest numbers from the Association of Mutual Funds in India. They tell us what the flows have been into the mutual fund industry in the month of September. And that data points to an outflow. We'll get to that in just a bit. We'll help you understand why that is. Joining me to talk about all of the latest updates is NS Venkatesh, the Chief Executive Officer of AMFI. Thank you so much, Mr. Venkatesh, for taking the time. I want to ask about the trends that you're seeing in customer addition, or rather investor addition into mutual funds in India, because that number is at an all-time high. The SIP flow number, despite the kind of tribulations we're seeing across the world, is also at an all-time high. What can you tell us about those latest figures?
Essentially, it reflects that the retail investor has continued to repose trust in mutual funds as a safe investment vehicle. So that is exactly what it is reflecting, that every month you are seeing the SIP flows increasing. Last month it was at around 12,976 crores, 24 crores shying away from 13,000 crore. And if we look at the number of folios that are being opened, last month the new SIP folios which got opened was around 23 lakh, which is an all-time high. And if we look at the overall number of folios also, the overall number of folios has increased by around 16 lakhs in the overall industry as a whole. But SIP new folios opened was 23 lakhs. So that clearly shows that there is a great interest from the retail investor to participate in the India growth story. And the retail investor has chosen the mutual fund as an investment vehicle for participating in that story.
So, Mr. Venkatesh, where do the total number of folios stand right now? And maybe that's not the best picture of the number of investors, because as we all know, a lot of people hold multiple folios. What sort of reading can you get from the number of folios that the industry currently has?
No, the number of folios are increasing. That itself shows that there is a very positive trend for the industry. That is one thing which we can understand from here. The overall portfolio investors folios is around 13 crore, over 13 crore. If you take roughly around 3.5 folios per person, it is roughly at around 4 crore unique folios. But if you look at the 4 crore unique folios in the overall case of, let us say, 40 crore PAN card holders, because you need a PAN card to invest into the mutual fund, because that is one parameter that we keep in check. So essentially, you will find that there is enough potential for the mutual fund industry to grow. Around 40 crore PAN card holders, and unique folios would be around 4 crore unique folios. So definitely there is scope for the mutual fund to grow in multifold in the years to come.
Certainly. And in fact, one mutual fund that I was speaking to recently said that a large number of the PIN codes of India participated in a recent new fund offer. And that seems to be heartening. Penetration is increasing. What can you tell us about the SIP flows? Because that is at an all-time high, just shy of that 13,000 crore number. And this is despite the kind of uncertainty that you're seeing. But have there been cancellations of SIP accounts during this time?
No, essentially, there will be maturities which will come in. So when maturities come in, or rather their financial goals are being met, people may close their account and take that money. That happens on an ongoing basis. But there's no alarming trend of a closure of SIP accounts happening. Roughly in a net accretion, you will say around 13 lakh folios are getting added. So that is a very, very positive number to really look forward to.
It's a heartening number. Let's talk about the flows for the month of September. It is the end of a quarter. It is the end of half of the financial year. And so understandably, there's an outflow from debt mutual funds, the overnight funds. Is that primarily what has resulted in that 40,000 odd crore exodus of funds from the mutual fund industry?
Yeah, predominantly. If you look at the liquid funds, the liquid fund outflow is around 50,000 crore. So that is the predominant number. The other funds, debt funds like the money market fund, short duration fund, medium term duration fund, corporate bond fund, and such like, are also seeing some offset net outflows which are happening. The liquid funds main money going out is to meet the advance tax outflows for the corporates. Plus, the banks generally don't keep money with mutual funds in quarter ends and half year ends, because it affects their capital adequacy to a little bit extent. So that is understandable. The money going out from, let us say, the duration funds like the medium term fund or the long term fund or the corporate bond fund, which are interest rate sensitive, is very clearly understandable, because the central banker is on a tightening spree as far as interest rates are concerned. He is hiking rates to fight the inflation. So any duration fund will naturally show a little bit of more volatility, and that too the returns will show a little bit lesser returns. So maybe the investors are taking out their money and keeping them separately, and trying to wait for the right time when, let us say, the interest rates peak. So at that point of time, they will re-enter, and with a fall in interest rates, they will stand to gain.
The equity flows, on the other hand, were quite interesting and heartening once again.
Yeah, definitely. 14,000 crore of net flows you could see in the equity flows, and across the spectrum you could see positive inflows. But mainly you will see thematic fund showing somewhere around 4,000 crore of net inflows there. Plus the large cap, mid cap, small cap, and flexi cap also shows positive net inflows coming in, which shows that the investor thinks that the whatever volatility that they are seeing in the equity market, where markets were a little bit seesawing in the past, I think they're saying that this is the right time to stay invested, because they believe that the India growth story is intact.
No, certainly. And with regard to the thematic funds, I think quite a substantial portion coming in from NFOs that were launched during the month. And that seemingly also lends to the fact that maybe retail investors here in India, are quite confident about the prospects of those themes or those sectors. But Mr. Venkatesh, thank you so much for joining in and for giving us that color and perspective on the flows, and always a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you. Thanks speaking to Alex. Thank you.